Hello, everyone. My name's Kate.
And I'm Rebecca, and it's absolutely fantastic to have so many of you here today. We've had an amazing turnout. I think QTIC have said this is probably the biggest registration of webinar attendees I've ever had. It was so fantastic. And we know there's lots of people who we've worked with before who are here today, so really great to have you here. So just a quick bit of housekeeping before we jump in. If I can just grab a couple of people to just raise their hands in the chat box on the right of your screen there, just so we can see that we can hear you all okay. So how today is going to work is I'll hand over to Paige in a moment, and Paige is going to run us through the training all around storytelling. As we go through, if you do have any questions as we go, just type them in the chat box, which you can see just on the side there as well. And how we'll answer those is Paige will stop a couple of times as we go through, and we'll also have questions right at the end as well, so we can address them there. Just to let you know, we are recording today, so if you do have to leave early within the hour, that's absolutely fine. So you'll get a copy of the webinar, and you will also receive a link to our website. So we've got a web page set up where you'll get a list of all the resources that Paige talks about today, links to websites and blog posts for further information as well. And finally, hope we've got our fingers crossed that the tech gods look after us today. So if there are any issues with tech, mainly internet connection, I'll jump in and take over if need be, but worst case, we're recording it, so you'll get a copy of the webinar either way. So, all right, I'll just check that we've got people that can hear us all okay. All looking good. So if there's anyone can raise their hands, just click on the button on the side there. And what we'll do now is we'll head over, and Paige will now start sharing her screen, and we'll jump into the presentation. Cool. So we'll start now.
Checking that you can see that okay.
Yeah, all good this end. And thanks to those that have raised their hands to say they can hear. That's great.
Okay, so welcome everyone. It's great to have everyone here. As Beck said, we are so excited that we've had so many registrations and so many people that we know and have worked with joining us today. So welcome, and welcome to people who've never worked with us today as well. Hopefully you get a bit of a feel as to our training and the content that we like to share with industry. So we're delighted that you're able to join us, and hope that it'll be a great learning experience for you. Now, there's lots to take in, but also lots to go home and think about and implement for your business as well. So let's get going. So in the next 60 minutes, we're going to look at, about the next time for questions late. Hopefully I'll get it through in that time. But first, we're going to look at how storytelling helps drive tourism demand. Then we're going to look at sharing stories that meet your customers' needs, so looking at who your customers are. Then we're going to delve into blogging and why it's such a critical marketing tactic for all tourism brands. Followed up by how to produce a fabulously engaging blog post that will engage your ideal customers. And then once you've created that blog post, how to get maximum exposure for it to drive visitation to your website. Okay, so let's look at how storytelling can drive tourism demand. So the reality of tourism marketing in this day and age is that we no longer market stuff, as stuff is a really easy market to compete in. So to achieve real brand trust and consideration from our most profitable prospects, we need to compete with stories, and specifically those that resonate with those prospects. So Tourism and Events Queensland have recently launched a new storytelling manual, which, if you haven't seen it already, is available on their corporate website, and we've provided a link for you in our webpage full of resources. And in that manual, they've defined storytelling as the interactive art of using words and actions to reveal the elements and images of a story while encouraging the listener's imagination. So storytelling is currently getting a lot more attention as a marketing tactic because it is one of the best ways to generate positive word of mouth about a business. So with thousands and thousands of tourism brands currently trying to spruik messages in a really cluttered online space to very similar audiences, it's really easy to see why businesses are looking to amplify trusted word-of-mouth marketing tactics, because obviously they are one of the most trusted forms of advertising and can therefore cut through the noise and engage and convert more customers. Now, storytelling has also had a real direct impact on tourism brands' bottom line. So a scientific study into the link between storytelling and digital marketing has shown that functional MRI neuroimagery, which is a mouthful, but it's basically a study of how our brains work and respond to certain stimuli, indicates that consumers primarily use emotion rather than information to evaluate brands. Also, Headstream, which is a marketing agency in the UK, undertook a brand storytelling research study with about 2,000 UK adults in April 2015 with some really interesting results too that I'll just share with you. So firstly, of the respondents who were between 18 to 24 years of age, 49% of them believed that brand stories are most likely to make them more interested in a travel brand. The study also showed that 55% of all respondents were more likely to buy a brand in the future if they really loved a story. And finally, the study results showed that 60% of respondents believed that the best stories are those about real people. So when it comes down to it, people will gravitate toward stories and messages that are most important to them. Therefore, people feel more connected with brands that tell stories that resonate with their lives. So your challenge after learning all of that is to work out what is important to your ideal customers. What do your most profitable prospects find important and what's going to resonate with them? Then from there, we need to start writing stories that are real, that are authentic, and that draw on emotion. And the outcome from that is that you'll be able to connect with your potential customers in a really relevant way where they are online to drive that consideration and demand for your tourism product. So that's basically how storytelling, can drive demand for your business. So the second go through in the webinar, we're going to look at how to share stories that meet your ideal customers' needs.
Paige, just before we jump in, just quickly, there's a few people that are having issues with audio. So just a quick tip, if you're listening in on Wi-Fi, just turn off anything that could be taking up bandwidth. So, for example, Dropbox, or take your phone off Wi-Fi if you're not listening to it through your phone. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's just Wi-Fi or internet access your end. So if it gets too bad, you can definitely come back in and listen to the replay at the end, because we know it's annoying listening to dodgy audio. So, cool. All right, anyway, back to you, Paige.
Thank you. Technology, but I love it. So just before we look at what stories we need to share with our ideal customers, it's important to have a good grasp on who your customers are and what their predispositions are as well, because our customers have changed quite significantly. So first of all, mobile technology has allowed our customers to be fully connected to the world around them. They're connected to their smartphones 24/7, just like you and I. We can't get away from it. So in an instant, people can actually find answers to any question they like, which makes them more informed and in total control of the messages they receive. And to add to this, our customers are time poor and easily distracted too, which means they're looking for really engaging, highly motivating content that answers their specific questions. So ultimately, this has changed dramatically the way we all perform many of life's functions, including the way we plan and book travel experiences. Also, when your customers are looking to plan and book travel, they are demanding more personalisation prior to booking their experiences. People planning holidays are looking to experience something unique, and with all of their personal details readily available via social and search, big data and geolocation information on their smartphones, they are expecting brands to know exactly what they want and when they want it and how they want it, receive it as well. And while customers are enjoying being really flexible and non-committal with brand choices, they are also looking for interaction and connection with brands. Customers like to ask questions, give and receive feedback, and expect a response almost immediately too. And finally, customers, after all of this, are not wanting to be sold to. So any sort of old-style, archaic investment of push marketing really needs to be thrown out the window to be replaced with engaging conversations. So mobile technology, going into that a little bit further, has more or less enabled a lot of changes in consumer behaviour. And to add another level to this, Think with Google has uncovered some new customer research, which suggests that whilst we use our mobiles for all sorts of normal functions, like non-brand related activities like texting and calling people, who would have thought, we are using it almost 150 times a day on average to keep informed about the world around us. So Google suggests that while we primarily use our devices in short bursts, where we actively engage with branded content to help solve our problems through every single purchase journey, not just travel. So these short bursts are what Google has dubbed micro moments. Each are basically a critical touch point in their customer journey, which ultimately dictates how their journey will end. So at Tourism eSchool, we've identified these micro moments as an open invitation for tourism brands to engage and influence their most profitable prospects at each stage of their purchase journey. I heard Google's managing director for Australia and New Zealand speak at Destination Australia conference last week, and he called these micro moments little breadcrumbs that the consumer, is throwing out. And, as businesses, we need to collect those breadcrumbs and try and piece the puzzle together for our prospects in order to be able to help them and assist them with their journey. So micro moments can also be described as I want to actionable requests, where the customer is basically seeking information based on the general needs throughout their purchase journey. So you can see from the image on the slide, which is straight from Think with Google's research, that the top 4 recognised moments that Google has identified for the travel industry are the I want to get away moments, time to make a plan moments, let's book it moments, and can't wait to explore. All of these moments are very relevant for tourism brands, but the real challenge for us as tourism marketers is to be there for your ideal customers when they need you in these moments at that point in time. And that's whether it's in search engine results, on social media, or answering those moments in the content on your website. So this is just a bit of an infographic example straight from the research where they track the micro moments of Amy, who had 419 micro moments over 2 months while researching her trip, with 87% of the moments happening on a mobile device. So that's just a little bit of a good illustration of what a digital moment looks like and what they're viewing, and also how they're accessing that information. So just as an example, again, in the dreaming phase, I want to get away moment, they're asking questions about where to go and what to do. In the researching phase or the planning phase, it's that time to make a plan moment. So they're really hunting down the logistical details online. In the booking moments, they're putting their dollars behind their decisions, but looking for the best value. And in the can't wait to explore moments, they're obviously looking at questions relating to accommodation, food and beverage, activities that are near me, as well as that factual content about, whilst they're in region, what can they do, where can they go, and finding all the details around them. So your task is to understand who your most profitable customers are through ideal customer profiling. Now, this is quite a big task to do, but it is such an essential task, not only for your digital marketing, but also for your offline marketing. We've provided links on our resources page on our website for you to learn more about how to do this, because we've written a whole blog post about the process. So we encourage you to jump in there and take a look at the profiling process. It will just ensure that everything that you do from a marketing perspective is aligned and is all geared to generate more return on investment for your dollar. And your challenge then, once you've identified your ideal customer, is to create and share the customers in those micro moments. Okay, so this is Rebecca, just about micro moments.
Not at
anyone?
page, but if you do have any people, feel free to type them in, and we can start addressing those at the next little break. So all good so far.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so let's jump into section 3, where we're going to look at how to start blogging to tell and sell your Queensland story. So a blog is basically a group of web pages on your website. It's where you regularly add helpful, inspiring story content about your business and destination for your ideal customers to access to inform their decisions before, pre-planning, during and after their holiday. So the main aim of the blog is more or less to create a hub of content which you can then share via social media and email, and most importantly, that content can be found in search engine results. Some businesses call their blog their news section or trip ideas on their website, while others simply call it a blog. Either way, everyone knows consumers you're talking about. Importantly, a blog is not about selling. It's a content marketing tactic. It's all about communicating with your customers in a relevant and engaging way. And it is a relatively new marketing activity for many tourism brands. And you'll learn this in the webinar, why it needs to be included in your marketing strategy and resource. So blogging plays a pivotal role in all of the stages of travel. So in the dreaming stage, people are inspired to choose travel destination thanks to videos and photos published in blog posts and shared on social media, and also found through search engine results. So at this point, their searching is relatively unguided, but they are literally being inspired to search the more research they do. So it's a really crucial stage for tourism brands to get your brand out there and generate that awareness. In the planning stage, people are undertaking research, as you've learned, on numerous platforms leading up to booking their experiences online. 419 moments Amy had before booking. So publishing blog articles can definitely help get your brand in front of prospects at this stage, as blog posts can be found in search engine results and social, where they're spending most of their time researching and fine-tuning comparable options. When blogging is done really well, it will attract visitors to your website, and that's through social referral and search engine referrals, and any referrals you get from sharing your content on your email marketing campaigns, which will therefore increase your ability to drive traffic to your website, and then, you know, depending on how your website's set up, to be able to create those conversions as well. Pre-travel, people will still be researching their trip in the micro moments right up to them leaving and making their way to your destination. So it's your job to ensure that they're feeling as confident and excited about the upcoming trip, as this is as important as their actual experience. Driving that, you know, pre-experience butterflies and getting them excited is basically half of a traveller's happiness. And will determine their overall happiness of their full journey with your brand. So you can do this by providing helpful content on your blog for, you know, those bits and pieces, ensuring that you leave no stone unturned for them. Similarly, in destination, your customers will still want to access information while they're in the moment. So writing articles to assist people while they're in region is a great way to drive people to your website to assist with those conversions as well. So people want the factual information like toilets and parks, and they also want that helpful information, the local information like best coffee or what are the best attractions for me and my circumstance. And then we've got post-travel. So finally, blog posts are a vehicle to publish user-generated content, which we'll go through a little bit later. These can then be shared on social and found in search results, and this content then becomes a trigger for someone who is newly dreaming and researching their next holiday online. So if you are using that user-generated content, then literally that's found by the next person wanting to be inspired to travel potentially to your destination. So it's really important to leverage that. Okay, so it's important to have an understanding of how a blog can help you achieve your overall marketing goals. So as I continue on my bandwagon of why you need to be blogging, first of all, it's your own real estate. You own your blog. It's something that you can control in comparison to your social media accounts, which is basically rented space. Google Love is a big one. Blogging is a fantastic way to add more content to your website, which means that you will have more pages from your domain name indexed in search engines, which gives you a greater chance of your web pages being visible when people are searching those micro moments that your experience or your destination has to offer. Just as an example, one of our tourism eSchoolers, Separate School Vineyard Cottage, she took up blogging in 2014. And since then, she's seen a 44% increase in sessions and nearly a 50% increase in total users of her website. So she's driving traffic, qualified traffic to her website just through the art of blogging alone. And it's because she's got more web pages out online and more web pages being found in search results, and that's driving the
I think Paige, just lost your audio there for a second, Paige. Not sure if you can still hear me. Paige may have to come back out and come back in, but I can keep speaking till she gets here. Paige, do you want to slide it to the next slide if you can? If you can't, otherwise I'll jump in and take over, people. It's got to love internet. I'll just jump in and take over, Paige. Just bear with us, guys. I'll just share my screen. Won't be a second. Screen, just bear with me. Point of view, as Paige has just covered, blogging is also very, very important for humanising our brand because, again, it really gives us that opportunity to connect with people in a way that, you know, we can't get through a static page on our website as well. Also, blogging is fantastic for providing that fresh, evergreen content that we can share out on social media and also out to our e-news as well, because we've got, you know, regular, you know, new content that we can share out in addition to, you know, social posts and photos as well. Blogging also is one of the best ways to establish your brand as an expert, because as you build up authority in the industry, this breeds trust and familiarity and keeps you top of mind for when your ideal customers are ready to buy. Blogging is also fantastic, low-cost, high-conversion tactic. So, you know, the main investment with blogging is time, so it's not a money pit. So if you can resource your blog efficiently, you can easily generate a positive return on investment. And as we saw from the slide that she shared from Seppeltsfield Vineyard Cottage, you absolutely will get increased website referrals when you do regularly blog in your business. And this is a huge one for our business as well here at Tourism eSchool. And it also encourages discussion as well. So, you know, blogging gives businesses the opportunity to connect with current and potential customers through a two-way conversation. And this engagement helps your website to become a more holistic information source for potential visitors, which can assist with future bookings. Now, just bear with me, guys. I'm just going to check, see if Paige is back online again. So it looks like she's not here as yet again, so I'll just keep presenting. So continue on. Technology. Okay, so just jumping back through to where we were up to. Okay, so how do we actually set up a blog on our website? So there's a couple of ways we can do it. So some brands set up their website as a subfolder of their domain, while others set their blog up in a subdomain. So a subfolder is where you've got mybusiness.com or mydestination.com/blog versus subdomain. So this is whether it's blog.mybrand.com. So how this looks is if we've got the main root domain up the top here, both subdomain and subfolder setups are derived from the main root domain. However, the subdomain, so we can see that one up now, basically this option has no link that connects back to the main website unless a manual link is developed on the site. Whereas if your blog is developed as a subfolder on your main website, then it becomes part of the infrastructure of your main website. So it's all one and the same. And the important thing here is that people can then, you know, if they find your blog, they can then get back to your homepage and find out about more of your tourism business or your destination. Okay, so here's a nice example here. This is the Tourism and Events Queensland, their awesome blog. So they have theirs set up this way, whereas Blue Summit Cottages has it as part of their website. So when you do set up a blog, we do recommend that it should be integrated into your main website by hosting it in a subfolder of your main domain rather than a subdomain or as a separate domain. So as a subfolder of your main site, what this means is search engines will find your blog and main website as one website, which means that your blog posts will have a higher propensity to rank well because of the authority of your main website and vice versa. So all activity on your blog posts, including inbound links, social activity and referrals from search engines, will strengthen your whole website in search engines as the blog content is housed all within the same domain, if that makes sense. So just a few things about when setting up your blog, because it's really important that we get the functionality right so we can absolutely make the best chance for it to go viral, be found and be shared by our community. So first up, it's really important that we've got a beautiful, engaging feature image at the top of our blog. So this is extra important for when we're sharing it out on Facebook, for example, that people see it and engage with it. Also then important that we have categories and tags. So this just makes it easier for people to navigate and find the content that they're interested in on the blog. Also popular posts, recent posts and most viewed posts as well. That's again just helps people go through a bit more of that discovery stage. If they found one great blog post, they then, you know, sort of go off and find other stuff. Also important that we've got search capabilities so people can jump in and search, especially if your blog gets bigger and you've got a lot of content, helps people jump in and find what they're looking for more quickly. Social sharing, really important, so that's so people can share the blog post from your website out to their social communities. Author biography, so we have information about that person who's written the blog post, makes it a bit more authentic. Comments, so people can leave a comment and interact with you, which is great. Call to action, very important. So having a think about what are the next steps you'd like your blog readers to take. So whether it's sign up to your e-news or find out more about your products, that sort of thing. And also previous and next article navigation as well. So again, people can go forward or back to find and read your next articles. So I'll just take you through the Queensland blog here. So Queensland have probably the best blog in Australia, so we can use them as a really great case study for either setting up or optimising your own blog. So you can see here they always have a great feature image at the top of their blog post. You can see at the top they've got the author name and link to the biography. You can see the social sharing at the top, and on the side there, their most popular and recent posts. Then scrolling down, they have a call to action. So this call to action, this blog post was their new storytelling video by Tourism and Events Queensland. You can see their tags down the bottom, author biography, and also post navigation. So you can scroll forward and back as well. You can also see they've got the related posts as well. So again, it encourages you to explore further and get lost in their blog with all their great articles. And then a comment section at the bottom so people can then interact and ask questions as well. So I'm just going to come off full screen so I can see the comments box. So has anyone got any questions so far about a blog or the blog functionality on their website? So whether you've got a blog already on your website or it's something you need to set up already. So just bear with me. Okay. I'm just going to check, see if Paige is back in. Are you here again, Paige? I think Paige must be having good IT issues, so I'm just going to check the chat room. All right, so any questions so far, people on the blogging setup? All good? All right, well, I'll continue on through and I'll come back if you do have questions because Paige must be having IT issues her end, so I'll come back and check shortly again as well. So just bear with me. Right, we'll continue on through. Next up, we're going to have a look at how to produce an engaging blog post. So this really is the biggest challenge when it comes to blogging, and it's something that has also been identified in Content Marketing Australia's 4th or 2016 report, which basically looks at what are the top challenges for Australian content marketers. And we know basically it's coming up with the content and the time to create it. So we've got a few tips here on how to now create a blog post that will engage and convert more customers for your business. So first up, general rules. When you're writing a blog post is to pick just one theme or idea that you would like to get across, and then mind map out the blog content if that works for you. This is how I prefer to write. Paige likes to just write directly into the blog website browser, so whatever works for you to get your ideas down. And then give yourself a set amount of time to write. So don't edit it, just pop everything down that you'd like to cover, and then come back later and edit it, and then finally format at the end. And a big question we often get with blog posts is how long should they be? Really should always be about quality over quantity. So again, focus on your ideal customer and what's what's relevant and what info thereafter, and just focus on delivering that in your blog posts. So with writing style for your blog, always really important that you write in first person. So imagine that you are talking to your customer, whether it's customer at reception or at your cellar door, at your attraction, and use that same sort of conversational tone. Also imagine that you are talking to your ideal customer. So be really personal and casual, and very much like we are in our businesses or in our destinations at the visitor centre, that sort of thing, talking to our customers. So next up, a few tips on writing great and compelling editorial, because a great story is authentic, it's creative, and it makes an emotional and personal connection, inspires action, and takes an audience on a journey with the brand. So no simple task, but we've got a few very specific tips now to explain how you can actually do this with your blog posts. So the thing we need to have a think about is what stories will attract your ideal customer. So the simple way to do this is come back to these micro moments, which Paige covered at the start, because these are the action-orientated search queries that people are typing into search engines when they're researching their current need. So when you're brainstorming your blog content, think about the questions that your customers have in their micro moments that you can solve, whether they're in that dreaming, researching, booking, or experience stage of their life cycle. So how this can look when it comes to writing blog posts. So someone is in the dreaming stage, they haven't worked out where they're going yet, but they may be Googling, I want to go on a family holidays. However, in the researching phase, they may know they usually know the destination that they're going to, but they're then looking at the specific activities. So it could be things like, are there family-friendly activities in Toowoomba? And then when it comes to booking, they're looking for the real, usually specific product info. So, for example, best value family accommodation in Airlie Beach. And then when they're experiencing, this is when they're looking for other things to do on the ground. So where can I get the best coffee in Townsville? So really good one. So bringing this back to your tourism business or destination, the simplest way to achieve all of this is you really just have to focus on sharing stories that inspire, stories that help, and people stories through your blog posts, because these are the sort of content that will address all those micro moments at the dreaming, planning, booking, and experiencing stage. So I'm just going to take you through some examples of what this looks like. So for inspiring stories, this is about showing off your product and your world, meaning your destination or your part of Queensland. So this could be showcasing best of experiences or inspiring locations, best of social media images through a promoted hashtag, dramatic seasonal changes, nature at its best, so flora and fauna, if that's part of your tourism experience. Any of these are fantastic, fantastic things to be sharing on a blog post. And we've got a really great example here from Thala Beach Nature Reserve up in Port Douglas. So we can see here they've popped together a blog post of 10 of the most photographed creatures on the Great Barrier Reef. And as we scroll down through the blog post, you can see they've got beautiful pictures of the animals, and then they've got a short little description about each of the different animals that you can see as well. Here's another example where they've curated in beautiful, inspiring photos that they've collected through their Thala Beach hashtag, which are then popped into a blog post. So you can see, again, some beautiful pictures from these ones at Instagram that they've just embedded in, and then have a little bit of copy around it as well. So moving on, in addition to inspiring, anything that's helpful on your blog post, this is really, really useful when people are especially have decided that they're coming to your destination and they're looking to, really nail down the details of their trip. So definitely think about how you can build a story about your destination. So itineraries, so not only what to do, but why they need to do it. Again, you're like the trusted local on the ground and people love those personal recommendations. New products, whether it's in your business or in the wider destination that you can share. Must-dos and how-tos, for example, how to get to your destination if there's cool things to see and do on the way. Events and where to eat. That's a huge one. Everyone loves to know the sort of hidden secrets of the best places for coffee, restaurants, breakfast, those sort of things. So we've got a nice example here from Queensland Yacht Charters. So they've got a great blog post here with tips for the best Whitsunday snorkeling experience. So they share some tips about finding the best spots and tips on actually gear as well. And then we've got another example here. This is things to do in Malini. And so again, this is a bit like the itinerary. So giving the tips of what to see and do when in town. So again, the beautiful photos and a short description and then a link through to where people can find out more information. So if you are a tourism business, you can absolutely do this for your destination. And if you are a destination, then this is, the big part of helpful content you can be sharing. And this is another great example from Tourism and Events Queensland, best hidden coffee spots on Sunshine Coast. If you're a destination and you don't have a best coffee spot blog on your website, then definitely that could be one of your actions after today. So again, if we scroll through here, it's great photos, a short description about the types of coffee. Again, a really helpful blog post. And if you were in the Sunshine Coast Googling, where can I find the best coffee, there's a pretty good chance that blog post would show up. And the third content type is people stories. So people stories are really powerful because when we, when we share stories, people often connect with what's relevant with them as well. So in our blog post, we can share intimate anecdotes to draw on our customers' personal experiences, things like local characters, a day in the life of staff members. This is a really good one, or behind the scenes. So in your business or destination, there's lots of different interesting jobs. So at the moment in South Australia, there's a lot of, all the wineries are going through vintage, and a couple of them are blogging and sharing behind the scenes day in the life of winemakers, which are really interesting and engaging. Interviews as well, whether it's with staff, could also be with visitors as well, and also sharing interesting and quirky facts. So this is a great example here from, I know Amy's here today from Tourism Tropical North Queensland, which is fantastic, and they've got a great blog. And this is an example here where they've interviewed a local, Astro. And if you scroll through, he talks about the tourism experience as well, but also he shares some of, a bit more personal notes about, why he loves living there and, what a day in the life for him in the business as well. So absolutely bring people's stories into your blog posts as well. So another really important part of developing a really engaging blog post is making sure that we're sharing really high quality photos and videos in our blog posts as well. And the reason for this is 67% of consumers consider clear visuals to carry more weight than customer reviews or product information. And in addition to that, for videos, 70% of people who watch travel-related videos choose a destination based on the video content that they have seen online. So very, very important that we consider including this content in the blog post. And we've seen that in the examples we've just shared. So this is another great example here from Tourism Tropical North Queensland. They always share lots of beautiful photos. So this is some beautiful photos of scuba diving sites off Cairns, and we can see just stunning photos, which are all user generated, which they've used and included as part of the blog. And you can also see here they've embedded a YouTube video as well. So another really strategic thing we can do with our blog posts is to repurpose content, because again, end of the day, we're all really busy in our businesses or our destinations, and we often don't, it's also not realistic that we are the ones that come up with all the photos and videos for our blog posts. So a great way to do this is to repurpose content that one is already out there or that other people have created. So this could be looking at social media photos. So what has been shared on your own social platforms, or what are other people sharing that you could use in your blog posts. Other photos that are offline that you have in your business that you could use or in your destination. videos, again, from guests or that you've had previously taken in your business, fact sheets or written information, anything that you've got written down, you can repurpose that into blog posts in a more engaging way. Same for press releases. Often they're quite dry, but again, if we put them in a blog format, we can, sort of make them a bit more story orientated and add photos and videos around them. And also, if you've got familials or VIP visits to your region or your business, taking photos and videos of that and use that in your blog posts as well. So this is a nice example here from Blue Dolphin Marine Tours. This is where they've basically interviewed other people to help them with their blog posts. And then building on this repurposing content is also leveraging and curating other people's content. So end of the day, there's so much content out there already that other people have found. So the first thing that we need to do is find the relevant content that we can use in our blog post. So as we learned earlier, Amy had 419 digital moments online prior to making her travel bookings. So there's this whole abundance of content ready available for you to use, but it's just a matter of finding the right content to curate into a blog post. And we can do this quite simply, whether it's images, text or video, through coming up with a hashtag for our business that we collect content, or we search hashtags that are already being used by customers, looking at what people are sharing already on Instagram and Facebook, whether it's our visitors to our business or other operators in the region as well. So to find content, the way that we do this is to create a hashtag for your business or destination to collect user-generated content from visitors. I know pretty much all the destinations in Queensland do this already, and you can certainly do this at a business level as well. And then from there, what you need to do is just monitor those hashtags using social media monitoring tools like Hootsuite or Iconosquare. And what you can then do is search for relevant themes relating to that subject that you want to create. And a really cool thing you can do here is also look for already popular content on social media. So content that's getting lots of traction as well. So if you've seen a post on Facebook, again, about beautiful sunsets in your regional town, you could go and find all the other best sunsets that have been happened that night and curate them into a blog post as well. So once you've found that content, you then need to organise it, attribute it and elevate that content, which is basically building your own story around that content that will engage your ideal customers. So what this looks like is basically organising your content in a way that helps the researcher find what they're looking for without having to travel too far. So through this process, you can create content that will help and break barriers to conversion when it comes to visiting your business or destination, which you can then hopefully repeat reap those rewards. So the way we do this is choose a similar content type. So, for example, all Instagram images, of particular wildlife or a sunset. Choose a post theme. So this could be, for example, 5 epic views on the Sunshine Coast, or any other theme that's relevant for your business or destination, and you could make that regular, monthly if you wanted. Really, really important that we get permission from people to reuse their content in a blog post. All you need to do for this is, if you find something on social, is just ask them through a comment if they mind if you share it in a blog post, and then make sure you credit them as well in that blog post as well. Then you just need to elevate and enhance that content to make it inspiring, helpful, or create a story for your ideal customer. And a really nice example here, this is Anecdote. It is actually a travel blogger. So basically what he's done here is he's actually curated his own Instagram images from 2015, but it's essentially the same thing as curating someone else's pictures. So what he's done here is he's shared his best of pictures from 2015 and has popped a short little description around each of them, links off where to find out more information as well. So again, you can absolutely do this for your business or your destination in your blog posts with content that helps, inspires or tells a story to your ideal customer. So in the final section of this session, we're just going to have a look at how to produce, basically make sure that our blog posts get absolute maximum exposure. Because end of the day, if we've gone to all that hard work of producing a blog post, we want to make sure that it's being found and shared by our ideal customers. So there's 3 different parts to get your blog post maximum exposure. First one is making sure it's optimised for mobile, where people are mainly viewing it on. Secondly, optimised to be found in search. And thirdly, optimised so it's syndicated and more likely to be shared out by people through social media. So first up, having a look at mobile optimization. This is the first strategy to make sure your blog posts get found by your ideal customers. So really important that our website is optimized for mobile devices. This is looking at statistics of desktop versus mobile websites for February up to February 2016. And this is actually up to 2017. And what we can see is just late 2016, mobile overtook desktop in 2016. So what this is telling us is more people are accessing the internet through smartphones than on their desktop. So also just building on that statistic as well is smartphones are being used for travel inspiration in snacking moments before planning. So basically people are flicking through their, whether it's Facebook or Instagram news feed on mobile devices to get, get inspiration for travel. So what this essentially means is basically that everything we do needs to be mobile only instead of mobile first. So basically up until basically in late 2016, Google announced that the way it's going to rank pages is that it's going to move towards a single indexing system based on mobile friendliness. So basically Google's going to be using the mobile version of a website to assess the relevance of your content and determine your search engine rankings. So basically it's no longer about whether your website is mobile friendly or not. It's just assume that you've got a mobile responsive website, and if you don't, your website pages won't even be ranked. And if you are a destination who has a website, a desktop website and a mobile-only website, then the mobile-only website is all that's going to be ranked in search engine results. So to solve this, you just simply have to have a mobile responsive website for your business or destination. So what will happen if we don't optimize your blog and overall website? Basically what will happen is you'll get very grumpy looking traveller like this. So statistics from the Google's Travellers Road to Decision research found that 83% of leisure travellers have encountered a travel site that was not mobile optimised or friendly. But of those, only 23% actually pushed through to connect with that business in another way. So those that didn't, so those that pushed through, they connected through in a different way. But those that didn't, around it, basically it was a 40% negative impact on the brand. So they went and looked at a competitor's website instead, they complained on social media, they stopped using the brand, or they told family and friends. So really, really important. If you don't have a mobile responsive website, that's absolutely #1 priority. So next up, really important to ensure that our blog posts get found is to ensure that we optimise each article to be found in search engine results. So the reason this is so important is because search engines are among the most popular online planning sources for travellers, particularly among leisure travellers. And we can see here search engines are the top source for leisure travellers, and we know this. So people, you think about when you're travelling yourself, especially when you're in region or planning your trip, you know where you're going, is you jump into Google and search for whatever you're looking for. So, and you can see here another statistic from the Google's research was that 57% of leisure travellers say, I always start my travel booking and shopping process with search. So undertaking optimising of a blog post and web pages, what this means is they have the best opportunity to rank higher in search engine results and therefore attract a higher percentage of qualified click-throughs or leads, and hopefully a higher percentage of sales conversions for your business if you take bookings, or if you're a destination referral, I guess, to tourism operators in your region. And the importance, and when we are looking at search engine ranking, it's really, really important to understand that the top 4 organic listings on mobile get 71% of total click-throughs, whereas on desktop, the top 4 organic listings get 70% of total click-throughs. So absolutely essential when we are optimising our blog posts and web pages that we are doing everything we can to get in those top 4 organic listings. The really important thing here is there's absolutely no point building and managing a website that is not optimised for search, as you're not giving your web pages the best possible chance to be found by your ideal customers when they're looking for travel inspiration or undertaking research online. So, because end of the day, Google will only rank web pages that it trusts, and trust is built by creating content that humans find engaging and are sharing with their networks. So in this day and age, Google can see absolutely everything that we do online, and if people are engaging with our content, especially sharing it out through social media, that builds the credibility, and that's a really important search ranking for Google as well. So a very quick SEO checklist for optimising your blog post. And we do have a blog post in our resources page that will take you through this in detail. So with each blog, it's really important that we choose just one search query per web page and don't repeat that search query. Secondly, then we need to pop that search query in our metadata, which is the description that Google previews to our customers when they're doing a search result. Then we put it in the URL, so the URL link of that blog post, in the page title, and as I said, the meta description. And then we need to put it a couple of times in the body copy of our blog post, in the headline, and also optimise our images within the blog post with alternative tags as well. It's really important that we avoid stuffing keywords into meta keyword description sections of our CMS or in on-page footers. This is very much old school SEO, no longer works, and it can actually you can actually be penalised for this through Google as well. So just to give you a quick example of how this looks, so we can, looking at the blog post here, Best Barossa Cellar Doors from Seppettsville Vineyard Cottage. So Best Barossa Cellar Doors, you can see that it's in the blog page title. It's also in the URL there as well. And it's also repeated in the meta description underneath as well. And then when you actually go across over to the blog post, you can see it's on the page and sub-page heading. And Sharon's also repeated it a couple of times in the body copy as well. And the image that she's got on the blog post also has it optimised with the keywords as well. So just coming back to some, again, the examples of Seppettsville Vineyard Cottage. Basically from 2012 to 2014, where she wasn't blogging, to the last nearly 3 years where she has been blogging, she has had a 300% increase in website referrals from search engines, and this is solely because she's been regularly blogging in her business. And you can also see this more here as well. So prior to blogging, SEO, organic search results, is only making up 17%, and now that makes up to 47% of traffic to her business as well. So the final section of making sure that we get our blog posts out there and engage with is making sure we share the blog content with our online communities. So at Tourism eSchool, we use the acronym POSE to remind us to publish once and syndicate everywhere every time we create a piece of content. So once you've published your blog post, we recommend that you schedule it or share it out in your next consumer e-news, share it out on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, or any of the social media channels that you're active on that are relevant for your ideal customer. Because end of the day, the wider you share it, the more opportunity it has of being clicked on, liked, commented on, and therefore you'll see an increase in engagement on your website. And the post will receive better leverage in search engine results for relevant search terms. So it really is a win-win situation. So we can see here, this is an example of one of the blog posts from Tourism Tropical North Queensland. Just scrolling down, really cool one talking about some different eating spots around town. And you can see here, Amy kindly shared us some of the statistics on this blog post. So you can see she's shared it out on Facebook, and you can see it's had 65 shares here, 185 reactions, 42 more comments. And those comments often are people tagging each other as well, so heaps of sharing there. And then she's also shared the statistics here. So it reached over 25,000 people, and on their TTNQ website referral, they saw 1,046 unique visits and 2,897 page views. So people, once they'd read that blog post, they went off and looked over at other pages around the website. So syndication is incredibly powerful, again, for getting your blog post read and shared by more people as well. So thank you very much for sharing that, Amy. Finally, it's also really important that we build on the wider Queensland story as well, because there's the more of us in Queensland who are creating and sharing stories of our own patch, this basically helps our own wider region and state to create a more authentic story, which attracts a more sustainable base of ideal customers. So I'm sure many of you guys are doing this already, but it's really important for brand visibility to basically engage with Tourism Events Queensland with their user-generated content program. So when you're writing and sharing a blog post, make sure you tag or use the hashtag This Is Queensland on the relevant platforms, and then also at your regional level as well. So based on wherever you are in Queensland, if you don't already know, make sure you check out what hashtags your region are using. So for example, we know Amy in Tourism Tropical North Queensland, they look for content using the Explore TNQ hashtag. So when you're sharing your blog posts out, make sure you use these as well. And obviously Tourism Australia as well, their See Australia or Restaurant Australia hashtags as well. So once you've done all of that, it's just a matter of rinsing and repeating with your blog posts. So have a think about, really important to create evergreen content with no expiry date. So this is the type of content that can be shared over and over again due to its continual relevancy. Also a good idea to keep track of when blog posts were shared out on social so that you don't reshare them too often, but you can also share them, you know, if it's relevant for a certain time, you can share it 12 months later. And also you can schedule repeat content sharing using different tools, which I'll show you in a moment. So this is really more when you get to the point where you've actually got a lot of blog content. When you're new to blogging, this is not so relevant, but if you've been blogging and you've got a lot of great content, then you can start sharing some of this repeating content. So a couple of tools you can definitely check out and use if you are already is Hootsuite. It's really popular. It's easy to use for social media monitoring, listening and scheduling for individual and teams to work with. I will say if you're sharing a blog post out on Facebook, just share it and schedule it within the Facebook scheduler. But for Twitter, Google+, definitely you can do that through Hootsuite. And Hootsuite is also fantastic for tracking and monitoring your own hashtags in your business and destination as well. Buffer.com, this is another great free app, and it's a really great way to quickly and easily share and schedule blog posts out from social media, straight from your website out to social. So we use this a bit in our business, not so much for Facebook, but for the other platforms, so we can check that one out. And also CoSchedule.com is really good if you have a WordPress website. So CoSchedule is a plugin and it's fantastic for planning and scheduling blog articles in advance across all your social media networks. And it also makes it really easy to reshare older blog posts. It also provides individual tracking codes, so you can track different traffic sources to an individual blog post back through Google Analytics, which is really good for you know, reporting on return on investment. So we've made it to the end, just about bang on time. So just a quick wrap up of the key takeaways is: one, make sure you set up a blog section on your website if you haven't already, or optimize it based on the tips we've shared and start blogging. Secondly, make sure you write posts that are inspiring, helpful and about real people, and focus on answering your ideal customers' micro moments questions. Make sure you create new content yourself, repurpose content and leverage user-generated content, and focus on that high-converting photo and video content throughout your blog posts. And absolutely optimize your blog posts for mobile and search, and share your content with your online communities and use relevant hashtags to build a strong Queensland story. So, and just want to remind you here, don't forget to visit Tourism and Events Queensland website and download their really great storytelling manual as well. This manual has been created to assist your business with developing stories and enhancing existing stories, and also gives you tips on how to improve your storytelling technique. So it's pretty much aimed at everyone in the Queensland tourism industry and breaks down the theory of storytelling into practical and user-friendly elements that can be applied within your business. And the supporting workbook can sort of assist you with developing your own story and bringing it to life. So definitely check that out. So to learn, we've got heaps of resources today on this website URL, so tourismeschoool.com/Queensland Story. So definitely check that out because it lists all the resources that we've talked about today. So now we're going to jump across to questions in a moment. So if you can just start typing your questions in the chat box, and I will jump off the screen in a minute and come back and answer those in person. While you're typing them in, I'm just going to take couple of minutes just to very quickly let you know about our Tourism Marketing Academy and Mastermind. Some of you may know about this already, and basically if you are interested in ramping up the marketing of your tourism brand, you may be interested. If you haven't heard of it before, what it is the 6-month program, basically where we cover 12 marketing modules, very similar to what we've covered today. So we cover all areas of marketing, and you have access to Paige and myself for 6 months, basically, but for the fraction of the price of consulting help as well. So you get live and recorded webinars. The webinars are different to this because you can actually talk to us and interact, and we use a different platform, which is a little bit more reliable than this one, obviously, because we don't normally have tech issues. You also get custom toolkits, workbooks, templates and worksheets, because we're very much focused on giving you the tools to implement what you're learning as well. We also have a 30-day 100% money-back guarantee, because we know it can be a bit risky investing in these things. So if you find it's not right for you, we'll absolutely give you your money back, no worries. And the other big thing with the program is we know everyone gets very busy in the tourism business. So if you can't complete everything at the time, you have lifetime access to the content. So every time we run it, which is only once a year, we update the content so you can come back in and re-jump in and get the support you need to complete it. So a couple of things why you may like to consider it. Just be aware it is a bit like a boot camp for tourism marketing. So we really focus not so much, we give you a lot of information, but we're really very much focused on making sure you apply it in your business. So you do have tasks to do, but the tasks you get to do are really just ones you need to do for your business anyway to plan and implement a strategic marketing plan. And at the end of the day, you really get to develop your own results-focused marketing strategy with that consultant support from Paige and myself for an absolute fraction of the price of paying one. Big part of this program also is it saves you time. We know how busy and how hard it is to keep up with all the different platforms and tactics. So Paige and I, we do all the hard work. We work out what isn't working and teach you only of what is relevant. Also saves you money as well. Because basically you increase your skills and knowledge, so you know how to confidently choose the right tactics that align with your customers and importantly what to say no to. And finally, it's also really great for networking, because you can network and collaborate with other like-minded and enthusiastic tourism businesses. And we've already got a great alumni group from last year who'll be there ready to welcome the new people when they join. So if you are interested, the program is $1,500 plus GST. However, QTIC members receive a 20% discount, which is a saving of $300 as well. So just keep that in mind. And if you are interested in learning more, all the information is on our website at tourismeSchool.com/OMP. So now we're going to jump back to questions. So I'm just going to take the presentation off and I'm going to flick back to the webcam, and hopefully IT all going well, we'll be able to now ask. Bear with me while it comes on. There we go. So we've got some good questions here. So Vivian has asked, if you're a tourism destination creating your own blog posts, how do you ensure a fair playing field when promoting operators? Very good question, Vivian. That's a real tricky one, and I guess it comes back to it's like with all destination marketings, we can't promote absolutely everyone. It's, you could use things like what are the top 5 places that are being recommended on TripAdvisor. So what are the actual visitors on the ground saying, and use that as a guide. It's a bit like with destination marketing, regions at a state level have to pick the winners. So it probably comes back to that particular experience in your region, which one aligns to your ideal customer and which products are most likely aligned to that. And I guess just mix it up. You can also get your operators to help contribute to content to a blog post as well. So that's another way to get everyone involved as well. And don't forget, you can also showcase other operators through social media as well. So hopefully that's answered that question. Ali's got a question. Do you think Twitter is important? I just don't feel many people use it. That's a really good question, Ali. The way we teach social media strategy is absolutely come back to your ideal customer. So when you get to know who that ideal customer is, you'll very quickly then know whether Twitter is the channel that you need to be on. So, for example, if you've got a young mum with kids, is your ideal customer, I can pretty much guarantee she's probably not on Twitter, but she'll be on Facebook and Instagram. So use that as the lens, not just for Twitter, but for all of your social media marketing to help guide you with that one. Jake, you've asked a question about, can you provide a link to your SEO blog post? We have. So if you go back to that page, tourismeschool.com/Queensland QLD/story, you'll find the link to those blog posts there as well. Just scrolling up now, let's have a look here. Tracy has made a statement here. Tracy, she said, I've been blogging for several years at Mount Barney Lodge, but very sad to say that all this great content is simply words on a page with none of the SEO and links needed to leverage what's great content. The blog has to be updated, obviously, but what happens to this great content? That's a really good question, Tracy. You can actually go back and optimise it, absolutely. So you can retrofit and everything that we've talked about today, optimising for mobile, optimising for search, popping in photos and videos, definitely do this. This is something Paige and I do in our business quite often. So we often go back and look at our blog posts for the last couple of years and have a look at which blog posts have been getting great engagement or traction. We'll go back, check if they're still update and update them. If we need to add in new pictures or images, and then we change depending on the blog post, but we can actually then future date it and bring it up to date with the new date. But definitely don't get rid of it, keep it, and just optimise it using the tips that we've covered today as well. Lynn's got a question, what is the best place to create a new website for free? This is a good question as well, Lynn. I guess if you're new to business, I guess the first thing that we really encourage you, one, if you've got a tourism, your tourism brand, if you've already got a website, making sure that the blog becomes part of that website. We don't really encourage you not to blog on a separate domain name. If you are new or looking to update your website, again, our preference is going with a website like content management system like WordPress. You can very easily get templates for $30 or $40. And the great thing about using WordPress is it's all set up and it's very easy to optimize for search engine results. You can use Wix and Squarespace and other options that a lot of tourism businesses, especially in the newer early stages, use. Challenge with them is they're not quite so good for search engine optimization, but at the same time, there's still something, if you need to get something up and about, they're definitely worthwhile checking out as well. Just checking here, what other questions have we got here? So I think that looks like we've pretty much answered all the questions. So we really appreciate your time today. If you do have any other questions that we haven't covered or you'd like to know, you can come over on Facebook. We're at Tourism eSchool, and you can definitely drop us a comment there or send us an email at help@tourismeschool.com. Definitely check out the resource page, Tourism eSchool /QLD story. You will get a copy of today's webinar recording. We'll edit out all the bits, the tech issues, but you'll get a copy that you can watch, and that will be sent out probably tomorrow on email, so you can get a copy of that as well. But really appreciate all of your time today. Hope you've picked up a few great tips, and if you do have any further questions, definitely let us know, and we'd also love to connect with you through Facebook as well. Cheers, have a great day, and hope to speak to you all online soon. Bye.